Whatever it is you're afraid to tell your best friend about that guy is the thing that you're afraid to look at yourself. Red flag. Okay, but first of all, look at this cute little French farmhouse thingy. And look at this. There's wild berries everywhere. Ah! Anyway, so I learned this the hard way. My best friend Liz, I tell her everything. I run everything by her because she is a microphone to my intuition, right? Because I have a hard time figuring out what's true and what's like a trauma response or what's like codependency and old like terrible relationship stuff. Like in my brain, I don't know about y'all's brain, but in my brain, I can justify the most messed up thing. I literally justified staying with a man who hated me, who like, raped me. Well, I don't know, like what'll happen if what is he gonna be okay? You know what? He was fine. He found a new woman. Actually, he found a woman before I broke up with him. But that relationship was the first time I actually lied to Liz. First through omission and then just outright. She would ask me questions. I would just lie because I was not in a position to hear the truth. I felt in over my head. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Ah! My husband's hometown. This is where he grew up. And so that lesson almost cost me in my life. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to all friends because some friends like are really not very healed themselves and maybe actually give you terrible advice. I'm not saying this for like all friends, but hopefully you have at least one friend that holds you accountable, who calls you on your stuff in like a good way, not like like gives you constructive feedback in a caring way that you can grow and become a better person. Like that's the whole point of like relationships, right? Hopefully you have that person and you're not getting advice from somebody who like is terrible at relationships because they're probably going to co-sign the lies that you're telling yourself because they themselves will put up with the same crap. Not saying that those people shouldn't be your friends, but those are the people you probably should not seek relationship advice from. Whereas Liz is always the person, man, she can always see through all my bull donkey. And I can always see through her. And that's our agreement. She's even said from the very beginning, she was like, anytime I got problems, I call you because I know that you're not going to say, well, oh, what an asshole. Instead, I'm going to be like, doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily take, her husband's side, but I am going to see it more objectively and try to help her see where maybe she might be not considering some context. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's BS. You should be bad. Other times I'm like, I don't know, Liz. That's what she does for me. And anytime there is something I'm afraid to tell her, that's a red flag. That means I'm absolutely supposed to tell her that. That means that that's probably the one thing I should be telling her. Not extraneous details that don't matter. Does the truth hurt sometimes? Absolutely. But it only hurts my ego. It doesn't hurt me. It actually helps me. The truth will set you free. But first it might ruin your day. Right? Y'all have heard that, right? Honestly, the best friends are the ones who are going to tell you what you don't want to hear. If it means that you are not living according to your principles, if you are putting yourself in a position to be harmed, if you are allowing someone to treat you bad, especially when it comes to men. I swear, even in that 90-Day Fiancé show, which I don't really watch much, but every time it's like the friends, or even in, Love is Blind. You know what? If the friends don't like your fiancé, you better be worried. Because that is your front line of protection, right? Those are the soldiers of love for you. I hate to say like love and soldiers, but I mean, we are talking about dating men, and since they do unalive us pretty regularly, you might even consider it war. One of the reasons why I got into that relationship is because, oh wow, look at this. Cows, castle, my God. Yeah, man. The lessons I got from that relationship was that before that relationship, this is the first relationship I'd ever had, is the age of 36. Right before then, I just didn't even mess with men, or I just had like exploration dating, one night stand, and stuff like that. No like relationships. So again, that is like that's one of the things I'm most proud of, right? Centering myself, my adventures and all that stuff. But I also was operating from a place of being completely closed off to men because of former trauma. And so after doing a lot of healing, a lot of body work and all this stuff, really working on myself to try to at least be open to this thing called love that everyone talks about that I think is like total BS, blah. Honestly, like weddings made me like, bleh, right? Because I just thought it was all BS. Except for a few couples that I've met who are friends of mine. I was like, well, that seems pretty cool what they got there. But marriage is a scam, because mostly it is. Anyway, this healer guy that I went to who's doing all kinds of body work on me. After I got out of that relationship, he goes, Melanie, we worked so hard on you, did all of this work on you to finally open your heart up, because it was just completely locked off. Huge wall around your heart. You wouldn't let anyone in. But you can't just let anyone in now. Like, it's okay to have a guard up. You should. You can't just let anyone in, because there's a lot of people who are not going to, And I was like, oh yeah, I guess having an open heart is like, you can't be dumb. Not dumb, ignorant, or just naive. I jumped right in with the worst person. Y'all look at that door. Look at the door. And so what I realized is if I want to date, because dating is terrifying because I literally almost got unalived the first time I tried to date someone, like seriously date someone. If I'm going to date, I need people to help me protect my heart, help me protect my very life and my soul and my peace. I can't do it on my own. I need the help of others, not just a therapist, right? Because you got to pay them and you got to call them and you got to set appointments. I need my community to hold me accountable. So I've had several mentors, but especially Liz. Anything that I'm afraid to tell Liz about someone I was dating is the very first thing I told her as soon as I realized that. Because on some level, a lot of this stuff I knew. Think about it. A lot of people who have been in abusive relationships, a lot of this stuff, you were like, it didn't sit right with you. It felt weird. But then our minds, especially if you grew up with any kind of predators or whatever, your mind will justify anything. You're like, well, I mean, you're being so hard on him. I had so many reasons why I was being ridiculous for questioning this man. Liz validated every single concern I had about him, which scared me because I really wanted to date him. So then I just stopped telling her and I almost died. So if you're new at all this and trying to learn how to date without getting hurt, you're going to get hurt, but I mean like traumatized. Have friends, mentors, community that will help you protect your heart, because this, for women especially, this game, it is life and death. I'd rather you just not date at all if you don't have people who will help you put a microphone to your intuition, because it's too risky otherwise, especially if you come from a ton of trauma. Be careful out there, y'all.